Tuesday. Happy TMJ Tip Tuesday, actually. My name is Andrea Orem if you're new around here, and I love sharing about TMJ tips on Tuesdays because I dealt with TMJ issues, jaw pain, chronic daily jaw pain for about 5 years. And that was approximately 5 years ago, a little bit more than that now. But it was quite the journey. I spent a long time trying to figure it out and trying a lot of things because I can't take medications. I'm really sensitive to a lot of things. And so I couldn't really do that. And I really wanted to avoid something extreme like surgery because I saw how high of a risk that is for the jaw joint in specific. So I approached all of what I did in a natural, alternative, holistic way. That's just what I did. And I'm here to share little tips with you because I know how helpful that would have been for me. I wish I would have had somebody to say, hey, try this little thing. It worked for me. Or, hey, try that thing. It worked for me. Or, hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered this factor that can sometimes contribute to people's issues? And if I'd have known that, man, it wouldn't have taken me 5 years. I know that for a fact. And if you're like, man, I don't want just these little tips. I need a little more direction, a little more hand-holding. Take a look at the link in the description of this video. There is a link to my course, TMJ Strong, that I've put together. I pull back the curtain completely and I show you all the things about what I did and my own protocol and the factors I learned about and the things that I learned and the things I tried that didn't necessarily help me, but they could help you, all that kind of stuff. So enough about me and what that looks like, but I needed to share that background with you because if you're new around here, you might not know that I went through all that. And so you might not really understand that what I'm saying comes from a place of experience. And what I'm about to share with you, how we think about pain matters, that's our title for today. How we think about pain matters. You might think to yourself, Andrea, you don't get it. Like, that's just a hunky woo-woo, whatever sort of hokey pokey, weird thing, right? That doesn't actually work. And I wouldn't tell you these things if it didn't help me, right? So I had to make sure that you know I dealt with this for 5 years. And it was long, and it was hard, and it was daily, and it was really a struggle. And for me to come and tell you something helped me, take it with a grain of salt, all right? And maybe it won't help you as much as it helped me. Who knows? Or maybe it will help you a lot more than you think. So give it a chance. If you are here and you're dealing with chronic pain, raise your hand. I would love to come alongside you, to message you once in a while and say, hey, how are you doing? To just check in on you. Because sometimes a lot of us sit and suffer in silence. And if you're not cool with writing in the comments, that's fine. Message me directly. I'd love to come alongside you, just walk with you. If you're a praying person, I'd love to pray with you. Because I know how hard it is. And I know that I didn't really tell anybody when I was dealing with it. Well, I did. I told a couple people, a handful of people, that I was dealing with this much of a struggle. But I wasn't public about it the way I am now. And it could have benefited me to see somebody else walk through this and come out the other side with joy, with hope, with practical advice. So all that to say, our topic today, how we think about pain matters. Now, if you're someone who deals with chronic pain, that takes a really big emotional toll. Most people don't realize, most people who, who don't experience chronic pain don't realize the emotional toll it can take on someone to deal with that day in and day out. They don't necessarily make the connection that it wears on our spirits and our souls, especially if it impacts your career like it was impacting mine. That weighs on us a lot more than someone would think in a non-physical way. It weighs on us in a non-physical way. So a mental, emotional, spiritual type way. A lot more than most people would think. A lot of people who I've come across in hindsight would say, I never knew that about chronic pain. They would say, I just thought it was physical pain. And yes, it is physical pain, but it impacts so much more than that. So if you are struggling with chronic pain, I see you. And if you don't, but you have a loved one that does, recognize that that probably is impacting them on multiple levels, right? Multiple levels, a lot more than you might think. Okay. But that being said, how we actually think, what thoughts we have about pain matters. Because if we think when we wake up, and this happened to me at the beginning, especially when I was starting to get into this rut, this cycle of, is this ever going to end? Is this going to keep going? This is hard. I would wake up and I would think, even if I wasn't in any pain yet that day, I would think, oh, woe is me. When is this pain going to come today? And it was one of the first things I would wake up thinking. I would wake up thinking, oh, this is great, but how long is it going to last? Or can I really keep doing this? Or am I going to have to consider a different career? All these things and all these questions. And a lot of these questions are very, not necessarily existential, but very big questions to be asking yourself every single day of your life. I know that we probably should be thinking more deeply every day instead of just kind of walking through every day as a day. But when you're thinking some of those hard things, some of those hard questions, some of those do I have hope type questions every single day, that ends up wearing on you in a way that actually impacts your physical pain. Let me explain. When we have a thought pattern in our head over and over, it creates a little groove. And so it's easier to take that thought pattern the next time. This is science. I didn't make it up. And you can go read about it if you want to learn more about neuroplasticity, neuroscience. But when you are thinking the same thing over and over, those thought patterns, those questions that I was asking over and over, it becomes way harder to think different things than that because my brain is so fit in this one little groove, this one little thought. And so if you always think every day, waking up going, what time is my pain going to start? When am I going to be in pain today? I wonder how much time I have left before I start hurting. Those kinds of things. That ends up weighing on you because your thoughts are so pain focused that you can't see farther than the pain. Does that make sense? If you're living with pain regularly, daily, chronically, tell me if you would relate to that. Okay. And if not, that's okay. But if you relate to that, let me know because I want to make sure I'm, talking to the right person here. But when you're dealing with that and you're thinking constantly about pain management, pain, how can I avoid pain? What things do I have to do without pain? What things can I do that will not cause more pain this week or this day? When you're constantly thinking about pain management or pain triage, if you will, that becomes such a focal point of your thought life and then of your actions that follow that it's hard to even see past that. And so if you can, even for brief moments, and it takes time, right? So it takes time to change thought patterns and habits. Thoughts are habits just like actions are habits. If you can start thinking differently about your pain, you can change the outcome. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't experience it. So even if you're like, Andrea, I don't know if I believe you on this, all this stuff, that's okay. You don't have to. You can take, you don't have to take my word for it. You can try it. You can leave it. That's your call. But I wouldn't tell you that if I hadn't experienced it myself. And there's some specific techniques and tools that I used to help change those thought patterns, those thought habits. I'd be happy to share those with you. Actually, I already have shared those in the TMJ Strong course. So if you're interested, check those out. But I just wanted to share with you that there's hope. There is life. You can live a beautiful life in pain or not in pain. But there is hope. There's hope with jaw issues specifically. So have a great rest of your day. Breathe, take those low, deep breaths, calming breaths, and I will look forward to seeing you next Tuesday on more TMJ Tip Tuesdays. Bye for now.